So over the past few days I've been exploring the returns and sends of the auxiliary inputs, and I've been looking at this section down here, the master, the subs and the mons, as well as the SD main mix return button. There's endless possibilities with this setup, and I would like to kind of explore them much deeper in the future, but now just to give an overview, especially the subs, because I've not been able to find any workable videos on this, and it's quite interesting. So first of all, we'll put our sound source, which in my case is a drum machine. I want to put a snare drum because I want that space, and my idea was to record one instrument, patch it to several tracks. The snare drum goes into track 9. Yeah, this is the lead here. So before, you should consider what leads you're using, because what is coming out of my drum machine is a stereo, but it's going into a mono input. This did have an effect of the signal. If it's a stereo output, it makes more sense to go to a stereo input, these two here. If it's a mono output, it's worthwhile going into the mono, especially this one, because it has a boost. You can get more of a signal. So mono to mono, stereo to stereo, but because of this video, and it's quite complicated to describe what I'm doing, I've aligned these leads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sort of thing in rows. That is just for this video. Normally I would have one here, I would have another over there. You know, I would mix them around to whatever lead I'm using. So the stereo is going into a mono, which is not ideal, but for visual purposes it's probably better. So snare drum goes into number 9. There's a good signal. The mode is set to live. I've knocked off the compression because I just want the full frequencies. These I've left for now. These I've left for now. This I've left, and I've put it into record. You turn up the fader. The volume is controlled by the main. So we're not touching these at the moment. These is normally your headphones and a control room, etc. We're not using these as volumes. My main volume is coming out from the master output, these XLRs at the back, and they go into my speakers. And that's really controlled by the main here. Yeah, so we have a dry signal coming in. What I propose to do is use this section here. Normally the signal is bypassed and it goes straight to the master, and it's recorded on the master, and all this EQ section and the effects are not recorded on this channel. I'm going to try and change that in different ways. So this will be recorded, but it'll be recorded dry. I want the effects to be recorded, and I want the EQ to be recorded, and I'm going to bus them onto this track, number 10. So number 10 is this green lead up here. Again, there's a good signal. Make sure it's hot, up to -12 dB. The mode is set to live. I've put a bit of compression on there. These you leave as it is. You set it to record, and you always have the slider down. If you push the slider up, you're going to get a loop and you're going to get feedback, and that's not what we want. And what you do to record the effects on 10 is you turn the effects knob on 9. The number 10 is activated by the phone volume. If we put it to about 12 o'clock and then raise number 9, so this is your volume control of number 10, because this is the line out, and by raising number 9 slider, you're sending the signal out through here, putting the volume out, and it goes to number 10. I'll demonstrate. So as we turn up the volume, that's the dry signal, that's just the snare drum. But as to turn up the effects, I've actually set it to a delay. Yeah, so these are internal effects, so it's on delay. And if you turn up, so what you're hearing is effects on number 9, and it's coming out of the speakers. But because we've got a lead coming out of the headphone socket, or the control room, you could put it in, and it's going back in. It's going like a dry signal with effects. It's going on to number 10. Yeah. Now, because it's hard to hear, well, it's impossible to hear the effect on number 10. You can only judge the amount by what you hear on number 9. Okay, so the next I want to look at is the auxiliary, because this works in a different way. With the auxiliary, you're sending that drum beat on number 9. Yeah, so the drum beat comes through, it goes through the EQ, and when it gets to mon 1, monitor 1, turn it. I've turned it to about 3 o'clock, and in my head the signal then flows along and it goes to mon 1 in the auxiliary section, and that's again set to 3 o'clock. And if you think about it, these are the auxiliaries out up here. It's mon 1 and mon 2, so I've put a mono cable out from the auxiliary out, and I've sent it to my computer, my interface here. Generally speaking, you send the aux out to a reverb box, but it doesn't have to be. You can send it to anything that has an input and an output. I'm using the Tascam today as a standalone. I haven't connected it to the interface. So I'm using the computer as an external instrument, or an external reverb box, if you like, or a distortion or whatever. It's not connected to the Tascam. So the auxiliary one lead, the grey one, goes into my interface, which is connected to the computer. Put a good signal on the input. You can route that signal into a DAW, and in my case it's Reaper. Now I've set it up like this, and I should maybe explain. I've put a reverb on it. Like this is a reverb. This is a Reaper stock plugin. So I'm just using a general reverb generator. Set it up in the normal way. The signal comes in like an audio track. Let me play it. Turn up number 9. Yeah, you can see number 9 there. And as the signal goes through, you turn up Mon 1. And then on the computer. So what you're aiming for is about, again, minus 12 or minus 6 dB. A good warm signal going in. There might be latency. There might be a delay. And if there is, I've kind of experimented, and there's a plugin called Reinsert. And it's probably worth looking at a few videos to see how to set this up. But there's a ping detect which compensates for any delay that you're experiencing. Luckily I don't have to use it at the moment, so I've knocked it off. But if you do have a problem with latency, Reinsert it would probably help you out. They say you should put it at the beginning of the effects chain, but I've also found that at the end of the effects chain works just as well. Anyways, I've got just the reverb and a reverb generator as an effect. That's all. The other thing you should notice is that when you set it up, even though my input is channel 2, sometimes it doesn't work, and I had to go to stereo. So again, this is the lead problem. What leads you're using? If you're using a mono lead, it should work. But I'm saying if it doesn't, check the stereo inputs as well. And that's really all you have to do. The output from the computer is again from your interface. I've got mine at the back. The settings, if you can see, there's a headphone setting and there's a DAW setting. If you have it on the DAW setting, it's a louder output, and then if you control the volume just with your knob, that sends a signal as you would a guitar back in to your Tascam. And as you see, we have a signal going in. And now what's recorded on this, so again you have a good signal coming, if you can see, number 11. The next auxiliary test was to send the snare signal through Mons 2. So if we turn that again to 3 o'clock, this is on channel 9, that gets sent to Mons 2 here, which again goes out of Mons 2 here, the red lead, mono lead. This I've sent to my external reverb box, which is what you would normally do with an auxiliary. Goes into the input signal, the output is at the back. I've sent that back into number 12. Good signal. Mode is live. I haven't put any compression on. I've left everything else off. I've set it to record. Put up the slider. The volume again is controlled by Mon 2. Track 12. track 12 volume. And if I knock the effects box off, so if we put up the next slide, put up the original, effects, which would be on number 10. When we record the dry signal on number 9, whatever's on these knobs here, the EQ and the effects, get recorded onto the master. I want to record on the master as well as recording on channel 10. The effect is the same. Yeah. What's recorded on 9 gets recorded on the master. What is bussed from 9 gets recorded on 10. So I want to preserve what is on the master. I don't want to rub off that. So what I don't want is 10, 11, 12 tracks, channels I should say, wiping off track 9, which is on the master. And I can do this if I take them out. That signal flow is cut. So those tracks are not going to the master anymore. Number 9 is. Let's say 10, 11, 12. Take 13 and 14 out as well. So number 9 is still going to the master. Dry signal with effects. Number 10 isn't. So well, you couldn't raise that anyways. But number 11, it's not going anymore. Number 12 isn't going anymore. So what I've done, I'm going to bus these to the sub. And you do that by pressing in the sub button, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to do 13, 14 as well. In effect, the sub bus becomes the master slider. This is now the master in regards to 10, 11, 12. The main we can also bus, but because it's going to the master still, it'll still be recorded. It doesn't matter if we put it on sub or not, because we still have this being recorded anyways. We don't have to record it on that if we don't want to. If we put up the sliders of 11, 12, if we put up the slider of 13 and 14, and then put up the slider of the master sub, what we're hearing is the 11 and 12. We are now ready to record these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels. 10, 11, 12 will be recorded onto 13, 14. Number 9 will be recorded onto number 9, as well as the master. Press record, turn up number 9, turn up the sub, And when you finish recording, double click and it'll send it back to the beginning. Knock off the external effects and instruments. So turn them all off so we don't confuse what we're listening to. So everything is off or turned down. We take these out of record. We put 9 to MTR mode, 10 to MTR mode, 11, 12, 13, 14, all to MTR. So we're going to listen to what we've just recorded. We can leave these as they are, it doesn't really matter, but we can also turn them off, because we just want to listen to the dry signal. Turn all these down, put these back into main, because we want to hear this time what we've done. Turn up the volume slider. First of all, we're going to listen to what we recorded on the master. But if we press this button here, all you're hearing is what's on the master track. Yeah, everything is turned down. There's no effects anymore. What you're hearing is what we recorded from track 9 with the effects. Yeah, that's the delay that we had on track 9. That's why we wanted to preserve it. That same effect is also on track 10. So we can now turn up track 10 to hear what we recorded. It's the same as what's on this one. Take this down. It's a bit quieter, but it's the same effect. Yeah. Okay, so we know that's been recorded. We've preserved it. On number 9, it should be just a dry signal. Number 11. This is what was recorded from the computer. And number 12.